There's a feeling I struggle to put into words. It's the sensation of time slipping through your fingers like sand, of chasing something just out of reach, of emotions so big they feel like they could overflow at any moment. It's living in a world that moves too fast and too slow all at once, where every deadline feels like a surprise attack and every decision carries the weight of 1,000 possibilities. I may never know the perfect word for it, but I know the feeling all too well. And if you've ever felt like the world wasn't quite built for the way your mind works, let this video be a gentle welcome to you. For some of us, life isn't a straight path. It's a rhythm that doesn't always sync with the beat of the world around us. A constant push and pull between inspiration and overwhelm. And that's exactly what makes the game Unbeatable, White Label, so special. It doesn't just understand that feeling, it embodies it. In its music, in its motion, in the way that it captures the chaos slipping away, the game resonates deeply, especially for those of us with the heart of youth. But before I go any further, let's start by asking, okay, so imagine a world where music is illegal, and not just frowned upon, but banned. But you can't stop hearing it in your head, feeling it in your bones, tapping your toes to it. That's the core of Unbeatable White Label. You play as a rebellious, scrappy protagonist named Beat, who refuses to let go of the music that drives her. The game delivers this experience as a fast-paced rhythm game meets beat 'em up, sorta? Wrapped in a hand-drawn art style reminiscent of something like Scott Pilgrim. Beyond the stylish visuals and killer soundtrack, Unbeatable White Label is about something deeper. It's about fighting for what makes you, you, even when the world demands otherwise. It's about pushing through self-doubt, external pressure, and the constant feeling of being just a step or two behind everyone else. If you've ever felt like your passions were the only thing keeping you afloat, whether it's art, music, or that one thing you just can't let go of, this game gets it. Beat's story arc fits this perfectly. Beat is constantly beating herself up in order to deliver the perfect song for her band, and often at a deep cost to herself and her overall well-being. Beat's story arc also perfectly mirrors life for those of us with ADHD. Moments of perfect flow where everything clicks, followed by chaotic scrambles, self-doubt, and frustration. And that emotional roller coaster, it's right there in every note you, the player, hit or miss. Living with ADHD means navigating a world that isn't built with us in mind. From the outside, it might just seem like you're forgetful or distracted. But beneath the surface, there's a constant battle to stay present, manage expectations, and hold on to our sense of self in environments that demand rigidity. While it's never explicitly stated that Beat has ADHD, she certainly embodies its struggles. Between each song, we see snippets of her life and her relationship with her past self. Beat punishes herself for lacking dedication, struggling to stay organized, constantly losing the pieces of paper where she writes her songs. She's always late and often apologizes just for being who she is. But when she connects with herself and finds focus, she delivers at a level that few others can. And I think most of us with ADHD resonate with this. For the player, we feel bad for Beat. And we question how much this self-imposed torture has to be a part of the process of creating art. For Beat, this is just what her life is. And from her lived experience, this is what she has to do in order to be authentic, sincere, and perform at her best. And all this makes me want to grab her by the shoulders, shake her, and tell her all about. Sincerity culture refers to a social atmosphere that promotes individuals to highly value and share what is genuine, honest, and authentic in communication or behavior. Sincerity culture urges its subscribers to primarily emphasize emotional transparency, vulnerability, and, sincerity in all interactions for them to be deemed good or real. In sincerity cultures, people are encouraged to be themselves without the use of pretenses, masks, or social facades, and to follow what they most deeply resonate with. While sincerity culture has plenty of merits, such as fostering deeper connections and resisting corporate influence, it presents challenges as well. It risks placing too much importance on intent, while undervaluing the process of growth and results. This mindset can create a cycle of endless self-expression without meaningful progress or a meaningful end result. And that's where Beat comes in. She's lovable, but infuriating, taking sincerity culture to heart in ways that hold her back. She constantly loses important notes and pieces of paper because she's not using a simple notebook or 3-ring binder, overwhelmed by the idea of structure and believing it to be a limitation instead of a means for clarity and confidence. She believes she must always produce top-tier material to be valuable, which makes it so she fails to see that some of her value comes from the support of those around her. Her pressure to perform solo at all times harms not only herself, but also her band. And I'm so mad. I'm mad at Beat because I was Beat. And I still am Beat. Another emotional cornerstone of ADHD is rejection sensitivity dysphoria, RSD. That overwhelming fear of failure or disappointing others. Even the smallest critique can feel crushing. In Unbeatable, White Label, Beat faces constant external pressure and internal doubt, mirroring the emotional roller coaster of trying to fit into a world that doesn't always understand me. I mean, Beat, yes. Yes. You see, my problem is, as I think about my time with this little demo of a game, I can't tell where I end and Beat begins. I see myself, a younger self, too much in Beat, and I can now see what I couldn't see in myself back then when I look at Beat. I see how self-sabotaging she actually is when she sees it as just part of the process or all gonna be worth it in the end. I see how much her lack of self-awareness hurts other people where she may feel that it's just being quirky. I see her desire to become an artist to be one that will ultimately not end the way that she wants it to. And she sees the desire and drive to work harder, at pushing a boulder up a hill like Sisyphus, falsely believing that one day it's all gonna happen. Beat. I mourn for what you are making of your life. Her stories and experiences echo my own so much that it becomes unbelievably frustrating for me to write this script or say these words into a camera like I haven't already second-guessed myself enough about how earnest any of this is really going to come off as. And maybe that's my greatest point here. Maybe you can look at ADHD not simply as a disorder of attention, but maybe as a type of heightened sincerity disorder. A disorder where we're unable to connect with the value of other things in life as we unnecessarily hyper-prioritize excessive sincerity and authenticity as a result. And as angry as I am at this idea, as much as I hate it, I think it's weirdly kind of beautiful too. I think it's another thing that makes so many human beings with ADHD so lovable and appreciable. That in the blindness of it all, we choose to pursue what we think is meaningful. And I think it makes it so I'll never be able to write off Beat as a character. And why I too will ultimately choose not to write off my past self or his decisions. If you've ever wrestled with your past self, struggled to make peace with your mistakes, Unbeatable, white label, might just be the antidote you need. Looking in at Beat's life and choices has the capacity to better help you reparent that younger version of yourself. That version of you who had a pure heart, but just needed someone to invite you in and say, this is valuable. You're valuable, and I'm here to help make your voice even more valuable. Let's improve it together. Thank you for sharing your time with me, and have a great evening.